Greetings, Smalek, and I'm back with another reflection video for surviving Mindcrack Island. Today I'm going to be talking about day 7, and this is going to be the reward challenge that you see behind me, where we had to parkour over to a pirate ship. But first, I will make sure that you are aware of where this video sits in the overall collection. I will talk about the recap. I will talk about 2 other point of view videos that I've seen so far for this week, my hit list, and some shoutouts. Alright, so the official Mindcrack episode 5 aired yesterday on Friday, April 8th. Oh, there's a train in the background, but that's just how it's going to be. It covered 2 days. It covered the reward challenge that I'm going to talk about today, and then it talked about an immunity challenge and a council vote, which I will cover in my Monday episode. And then episode 6 of the official video and what I'm calling day 9 will be aired on Friday, April 15th. So let's talk a little bit about this ship that you see behind me in this week's episode. First off, we had the red and the blue teams merged together, and I don't remember if I saw that coming. I had really not watched Survivor up to this point. If you heard my What is Mindcrack or my Reflection Zero. But we merged, so now there's no more red team, no more blue team. There's just one team, and whatever alliances have been made within those teams. Also, at this point, we had been recording already and playing Minecraft for 8 hours straight. I don't have an exact timestamp. I don't have my raw footage anymore, but it was about 8 hours at this point. And we had this individual challenge, which means whoever got to the end got a personal reward and an advantage in the immunity challenge, and everyone else got nothing. So we didn't have any sub-teams or anything like that. And of course, this was another lovely parkour challenge. Now, I had said that the archery challenge, the beach archery last week, was probably the lowest moment in the show. And I will say that this was probably one of the hardest moments in the competition, and for the same reason that you just saw there, just not good at parkour. And this is the map that I'm playing right now that the Mindcrack team tested on and then might have made some adjustments, but I don't actually believe they adjusted these jumps. I was playing around with this a few minutes ago. It's not hard if you're a parkour person, but clearly none of us in the competition were, because we spent about 30 minutes here, and that includes getting the instructions from Good, and so on. And all these jumps were doable back then. I will say there was a little bit of lag, but there wasn't like an extreme amount of lag, to be honest. At least not on this challenge, not for me. I think Suchel would have had an issue, but he was already out. So at this point, we had the 3 members left of the blue team. And we have 5 members on the red team. And basically, we went on and on and on so long that Good took pity on us and gave us some cake. We were all starving. And then we basically took too long even beyond that. And he's like, all right, I'm giving everyone a block. And we were told we can put it anywhere we want. And of course, by the way, as a map maker and somebody who tests a lot of maps and likes to stretch the rules, at least at one point, I don't know where I did this, but I jumped over onto the purple person's blocks, trying to see if by cutting across I could maybe get like a little bit farther and then jump back to mine. So you could call that cheating, but it didn't really pay off. It might have actually, well, I don't know if it would have screwed me over, because it looks like these are all in even rows here. But as you can see, I'm a tiny bit better than I was back in those days. And if I had just gotten to the fence, I probably would have made it, but I just didn't do it. Anyway, my arms were shaking, my fingers hurt. I think someone actually said that during the challenge. And at that point, I was like, all right, I just want to end it. So when I think Brian or Desi asked Good if we could give our blocks away or trade them, and Good agreed. Immediately, I was like, all right, I'm giving mine away. And at that point, from what I overheard, and I didn't get to see anybody, I was really focused here. At that point, my understanding was that 3-2 was in the lead, and he was also on our team. So I thought he had the best chance of making it. So I went and gave my block to 3-2. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it crossed my mind that that could make me a target, but could also strengthen my relationship with at least 3-2, if not more members of the red team. So in the end, I do not regret that at all. Like, I think that was one of the most collaborative moves I made this whole entire competition. And after that, after 3-2-1, I mean, he got a fishing pole, which really wasn't that big a deal at this point. But he will get an advantage in the immunity challenge, which you'll see on my video on Monday. And you can see the overall video already. I would encourage you to watch my point of view as well, because I don't know. I feel like I did good in the next challenge. Spoiler. Okay, so then we had a little bit of night fighting and just a little bit of time to welcome the blue team to our camp. They were surprised, like Honey was looking for our house, and we're like, we don't have a house. We just fight on the beach. And so that was kind of funny to me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much the recap for this day. Let me know in the comments if you had any questions about this, but it's pretty straightforward. I did watch 2 episodes, and I watched the official episode, and I watched Honey's episode. That was a really fast move. 5, part 1. So I'm going to talk about those briefly, and then I will cover all the rest of the point of views in my Tuesday reflection after my version of the Immunity Council. So first and foremost, oh my God, I'm doing so much better than I did back then, actually. And you know what the trick is? It's the control key instead of double tapping. Anyway, I watched the official episode 5. I'm only going to talk about what you see up to the end of this challenge. I'm not going to talk about the immunity challenge till Tuesday. What I didn't know is that down here at the end, out of voice range, after I gave my block to 3-2, almost immediately, Dr. Brian, Lorgon 111, gave a block to Darkfan. And I also remember at some point, I can't remember who it was now, but at some point, somebody had put their block in the wrong place. Now, you may have heard that it was Honey, but she actually didn't put hers in the wrong place. Somebody put theirs in the wrong place, and I distinctly remember looking from like right around here this way and watching somebody punching their stone block by hand to try and get rid of it. But anyway, in the official video, we see Brian gave Darkfan a block, which I mentioned. I really like how they edited this episode with the interviews mixed in. They might have gone a little bit too long, but they even did this nice camera trick where they had some interviews where you're looking right at the person like this. And then they had some interviews where the interview's going in the background while you see us doing stuff on the island. So it's like a voiceover. And I thought that was a nice way to mix up the editing on these videos for sure. Very much more like a TV production. And starting to see certain conversations, but not show you other conversations, which you'll have to get in our points of view. I will say during the night fight, Dyer did a good job of fishing his witch into a cactus. And I had no idea I don't remember that happening, so I'm just commenting about it here. That worked out really well. I honestly feel like of all the people who contributed, Dyer really did a lot in this competition up to this point that I just wasn't aware of at this point. And I was going to save this till Tuesday, but I didn't even realize that Dire Dwarf was Dire Dwarf. I thought he was Direwolf, the guy who created mods for servers. Was it the FTB pack or the Direwolf pack or something like that a long time ago? Yeah, so I had no clue who these people were up to this point. And then I watched Honey's Day 5 Part 1. Links to both of these videos are in the description. You can see the whole giving away blocks exchange in her video and here kind of how it played out because it was truncated a bit in the official video. And as I said, I thought that Honey made her block worse by placing it. Now, first of all, she couldn't figure out why she couldn't place the block here, and it's because she's on a slab and she's standing in the hitbox. She could have placed it there, but that wouldn't have helped her as much. But she ended up placing it here, and it actually was perfectly fine. She was able to make the jump immediately afterwards. But it didn't, we're all hearing only parts of conversations. If you're too far away, you can't hear very well. So we thought she screwed herself, but she really didn't. She did fine, and she actually did very good at jumping. And then I just want to note, so she has a lot of the bedrock footage. What I mean by that is after this event and before this event, we got teleported into a bedrock box while they set things up. And that's how I account for, the full 8 hours of playing and waiting and stressing and talking. Even though you've only seen probably about 4 hours worth of footage so far. It's not even. And anyway, if you remember when Isacha was voted out, he was called the first member of the jury, and he will come back as long as everyone else who's voted, as well as everyone else who's voted out at this point forward, will come back in the last episode and vote for the ultimate winner between the final two players, just like on the TV show Survivor. And Suchel wasn't able to come and watch us. He was stuck in the bedrock box for the next, let's see, what's 22 hours minus 18? Minus 8. That's how long he was waiting around for that final council. And so to keep him busy, BTC allowed him and others to go into creative mode outside the bedrock box and just goof around. And so he started creating statues on the beach. And I don't remember which of my episodes I edited in some still frame pictures of those statues, but if you're watching, you'll see them. And basically, I believe, those are what gave Good the idea of making the statue watering monument on the official Mindcrack server in either the current season or the season right before this one. I can't remember if they've done a reset since then. But I'm pretty sure that idea came from this challenge. And then each person who got voted out basically built another statue. So by the end, we had Good and, well, you'll see who else we had statues of. And then the last thing I'll mention in this was that apparently during the interviews, I died for falling from a height. I completely forgot this. Again, I didn't save a lot of my behind-the-scenes footage because I thought we weren't supposed to. I thought that even by including some of my still frame screenshots that I might be stretching the rules. But anyway, everyone else is including them, so I wish I hadn't deleted it. But in Honey's, you see me die from a height, and I think I remember vaguely what happened. I think all of my interviews were taking place pretty much right up here on top of these trees. And I think what happened was when I got returned from my interview, I was supposed to get TP'd into the bedrock box, but instead I got TP'd to someplace way up here, and then I just fell to my death. But it was pretty funny in her episode. And it's those little goofs like that I think actually gave us a slight, I'm speaking collectively here, gave people slight mental breaks, slight distractions that allowed us to then relax and be ready for the next challenges at hand. So, okay, so at this point, my hit list, so if I were replaying this today, up to this point, with all the knowledge I have of everything up to this point, nothing beyond this point, I think the person most dangerous to me was Brian MCN. Very close second would be Dire Dwarf. My rationale for this is because there are 5 people on the red and 3 on the blue. So if we would get rid of Brian at this point, it would still be 4-3. And the red team could still have a sort of potential alliance to vote Dyer off next, and then I would be dealing with 4 from the red and 2 from the blue. I'd have to probably get rid of. Well, then I'd have to reevaluate at that point. And so Vaughn would be the third on my list at this point. But he certainly wasn't third. He was still top of my list when we actually filmed this. But you'll see what I do and what happens in the next episode. Okay, so quick shout outs. Basically, I've got 3 names. Motor Sagmanin, and if I pronounced it wrong, I apologize. Daniel Philpott and Maximilian WWW. So at least 2 of those names I don't believe I've ever seen comment on my channel before. Welcome, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying the points of view as well as this series in general. Seems that you are. That's about it. Again, I'm trying to keep them short, but they are probably longer than I have in mind. Hope this is enjoyable to you, and see you on Monday when you can watch my point of view of the immunity challenge, which I think was a lot of fun. And you can see my reflection on up to that point. And we'll talk about what else I might see and notice from other people's episodes. So, see you next time. Cheers. Bye.